Hey guys, I've got about an hour. My name's Casey Francis O'Brien, and I've been homeless since I was 14 years old. So I just wanted to give my take on talk about what I went through, what it was like, a little bit of my experience, how it started, how it's going, and my solutions and perspective on the homeless crisis in America. I started because my family had trauma and bad mental illness. They have their own issues, and one night my father flew off the handle and ended up fighting, and he had a heart attack. I was on a mountain, it was negative degrees, I had to walk a mile. At one point he had come at me with a hammer and tried to break my stuff in my room, and I had to pick him up and throw him over my shoulder and walk barefoot, no jacket, just a Walmart V-neck and pajama bottoms, holding my Xbox, and I walked to the next house, and my dad had a heart attack, playing chicken with me in the road, trying to hit me. Or he'd get as close as he can. He was trying to accidentally kill me by slipping on the ice. And I went into shelters and spent the next 2 years surrounded by crying children that their parents didn't want them, and the system failed them, and some of them were criminals, some of them had just bad mental illness, some were there for suicide. Some were there that were rich and their parents just got rid of them because they were like, I'm going to teach you about what it's like to be poor. So I watched Guardians of the Galaxy a lot in 2015 when it came out, and I got 15 minutes a day sometimes to watch TV, or sometimes we'd go to the library and we'd get 15 minutes on the computer, and I'd watch videos on how to talk to people. And I watched a lot of Owen Cook and RSD. It's pretty much all I watched was Owen Cook and Evolution Daily, because I figured they had mastered what I was just starting to learn, which was that I probably have some sort of autism, and that I don't see social skills the same as other people. Didn't mean I wasn't funny, didn't mean I wasn't good with the ladies, but it meant that I knew that there was something very different about me that was causing people to ostracize me. Turns out, sheltered lifestyle, living alone in the mountains with a semi-schizophrenic mother, and not having anyone to talk to except watching Zack and Cody and Hannah Montana on my TV, and the Teen Titans and Ben 10, High School Musical, and the only people I'm surrounded with are stunted children in Section 8 that were just as alone as I was. Probably wasn't good for developing a good foundation and perspective on life. So I learned from there, and I got out, and I saw no difference between going up and trying to make friends and then later in life having to ask for gas to get money in my car for DoorDash orders, or trying to go in and get this fat piece of shit manager at a grocery store to give me the fried chicken he's gonna throw out when he throws it out. And I was met the same way, just get the fuck out of here. But eventually I got buff, I learned social skills, I learned the art of illusion, and I was able to play a character that convinced people that I was worth being around, and then I offered wisdom and high intellect and philosophy in my adventures of having fun, that eventually I gathered a large group of lonely kids, and that became my friend group. But I was sleeping on a twin bed, and there were 3 of us in the twin bed because I didn't want to go home to my foster dad. So I was sleeping in Section 8 with some autistic kids that his dad used to blow smoke in his face when he was 7. And he just kind of looked a bit, he was kind of an uggo, and the other kid lived in the motel with his parents, and his sister hadn't showered in 4 or 5 years, and he slept on the floor, and his sister slept on the floor, and his parents slept in two separate twin beds. It smelled. I could smell that his fucking sister when I would go into the motel. But I didn't start drugs. I did acid a couple times when I was 13, and I just had really spiritual experiences. It didn't have anything that really messed me up. I think I became one with nature, and I didn't have a spiritual guide to help me with that. So, didn't do great in school, but every time they sat me down with the work, I exceeded their expectations, but I wouldn't go to class. So, like, I would say, just sit me down in the fourth quarter and give me 4 quarters worth of work in a big pile and let me just sit there and do one after the other, learn the thing and then do the thing. And then I did, and I passed pretty well. But I didn't go to class, so I got bad grades. So I was smart, obviously. But all my focus was in social status and structures and trying to understand relationship dynamics and make better art that triggered better emotions and try to have the most fun. I didn't really care about socioeconomics and stuff. That was like, it seemed like, I couldn't describe it then, but to me it felt like institutionalized propaganda to create a workforce, and everybody there was stuck playing pretend. There was no real in any of them. They were all playing pretend. They had already settled like their parents at that age. And I hated the social structures. So I would just come in, have fun, do whatever I wanted to do. I dated beautiful women. I had amazing relationships. And then, but I was always running. I never stopped running. So I never enjoyed any of it. And I was never fully myself because I had to learn to play that character to get my needs met, whether it was helping, whether it was not triggering my narcissist, traumatized, crazy parents, because if you said anything out, they would start freaking out. And then it was, I have to play a character in order to be seen as normal so that I was able to get out of these institutions and go to a foster home. So I was like a sick dog that was like putting on a show, like a really sad dog that was it had to pretend to be cute so that people took it. I had to pretend to be like everybody else in order to get out. And then a couple of bad relationships later because of my attachment issues, and I went for very attractive but extremely mentally ill women, like toxic women, and I didn't know anything. But eventually I left my foster home in 2018, right at graduation. They kicked me out. I think like a couple days before graduation they kicked me out because they were so mad that I put my clothes, like I didn't fold my clothes and put them away. Like my studio was really clean, but I needed a nest around my bed to feel safe. I needed my clothes on the ground around me to feel like I had a space, because I'd never in my life had a space. So I had to live like traveling my whole life. And my foster parents, which were, they looked inbred English, so they were probably from old money. English. Couldn't handle it. They couldn't handle walking into my room and seeing that my underwear and stuff was on the floor of my room. So I was allergic to cats. They would fucking let the cats in so that I would be sick. It's fucking disgusting. But I left, and that's when homelessness officially started. I wasn't in programs or shelters or couch surfing. I was just completely on my own. And I spent a summer in my car. I framed it as adventures where I would have one night stands with girls and I'd go to their house. So I ended up cheating on my girlfriend a lot. And then the alternative was to go back to that bed I was sleeping on with 4 of us. Now there was 4 or 5 of us on that guy's bed. And they started smoking weed. So it started off where we would just take a hit on the bowl and we would laugh and have fun. Everybody called me a wizard. They were like, Casey's a fucking wizard. And I had the hat. So we would hide in the closet so the smoke didn't get out and just giggle all night. It was really fun. And then that turned into taking like a bigger hit and going to the marina and trying to talk to girls, but we couldn't because we were high and stunted. So we were goofing off like 12-year-olds and they weren't liking us. But then at night, other people that were like us, kind of stunted Vermonters that weren't beautiful and fit and have jobs, that also do drugs, they liked us a lot and they'd hang out with us a lot. But we stopped liking each other as we did more drugs, because I was really invested in music and I was still working, but you know, I would get high and I'd walk into my job, which was at a restaurant, and I'd be high as hell, and I'd be in the middle of the restaurant, and I'd be so high, and I'd take all the cookies that were made for other people, like people that paid for them, and I would be in the middle of this huge industrial kitchen on the water, and everybody's running by and dodging me, and they know what's happening, and I don't give a fuck. I'm just eating and I'd eat that, and then I'd go for the ice cream in front of everybody, including customers that could look in and see me like that. And then I don't know where I went after. I must have just wandered outside and walked to the lake and just, I don't even know, maybe got in my car and drove around. I don't know. I only remember eating the cookies, and then at work they called me the Cookie Monster. They're like, oh fuck, the Cookie Monster's back. Hide the cookies. And I'm like, I'm gonna get them. I'm eating them. There was a lot of really amazing women there that liked me, but I had no idea how to talk to them anymore, because I was in this like half hallucinative state. But the music I was making was incredible. Eventually, one of my exes invited me on a trip to Old Orchard Beach with her family, her foster family, because she was 18 and she decided to stay with them still. I met her in the program. She was at the time an Instagram model, and she was a bad bitch. But when I got to Maine, I was at a campground. My head gasket blew, and I went into, I call it Casey mode. I don't know, the drive survival mode. I used to have a word for it, but it was like my favorite part of my life was when I was at rock bottom and I had nothing, and having to fight to build my kingdom back again. And so I immediately, as soon as my head gasket blew, I got it towed. One night at the campground, I immediately walked into all these different places with my friend, who we were living on his couch, Dakota. And Dakota saw me get both of us a job, like Pinky and the Brain. I'd walk in and I'd get it, or like Sean Spencer and Gus, or any of those duo movies with like the psychopath and the empath, you know? So I would like come in and hit on the girl, like not really hit on the girl, but like build a relationship with the pretty girls that were our age, set up an event. I was going into my pickup artist training and got us all jobs. The manager liked both of us. They wanted to hire both of us. And then I hooked up with my ex in the tent again while my friend slept in the car. And then in the morning, he called his grandma and didn't tell me, and his grandma picked him up and took off. So I said goodbye to my ex. I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna stay here. I'm 18. There's nothing for me back home. Dakota just left, and he was my bed that I slept on. So I like it here. I'm gonna stay and go to Old Orchard Beach. And she fucking, even though she in our relationship she cheated all the time, she was, you know, young and really attractive. But I was the only guy that she had known before that. Like, she blew up as a child. Like, she was 17. So, and I knew her when she was like just turned 16, and we were both locked in a room because the system had failed, the world had failed us. So we were out at the community garden in the program just hanging out all day. And she still says I was the best sex she ever had. It is what it is. Sorry. So she bawled her eyes out that her foster mom was like, hey, and then took her, and I didn't see her for years. That was 2018. In Maine, a CEO of $1 million company, I drove my car into his lot thinking that he had a bunch of other broken down cars he towed, his company towed. And I was like, what's another one? So I was waiting for work. I was going to hide there because I couldn't keep it outside the job. And then he took me in because he said the ghost of his mom told him to take me in. Like, what would you do? Basically. So they fixed my car up. I was supposed to go to college at the end of the summer. I got to college. It was a music industry school where people were leaving that school and going right into Hollywood. They were going right into the music industry. They were going right down to Florida, to Miami and New York and all these different places. It was like one of those gateways. And they drugged us. They drugged everybody in there. Half of us, like, my experience was I was driving 80, and then spirits opened my mind and showed me the devil and showed me how, before lean was introduced, they showed me what lean was about to do to suburban kids, and that the world is going to get really dark, and then the black sun, the devil, is going to consume as many people as it can. That's the when you look at the pentagram behind Baphomet, that's the black sun, the inverted star. Instead of going up to God, it's up there and then controlling us. That's Saturn, Satan worship, the black sun. The black cube, Mecca, if you look at the Star of David and then you draw lines, it's the cube inside the Star of David, the hidden truth, the occult. It's the Trump Tower. It's these obelisks everywhere, these monoliths that are giant dicks for the generative principle in Freemasonry. And basically something remotely opened my mind up and showed me that while I was driving 80 miles an hour to Columbus to go fuck some bitches with Elliot Hulse's nephew, who was my roommate. Look up Elliot Hulse. His nephew was my roommate. So it was both of us going to Columbus. And he told me I was speaking in tongues. I was like, and I thought I was just listening to music. So the next day at the same exact time, it was like 1:30 or something, both of us got up like this, like Bo was afraid, and just got in our cars and left. And I mean, the only other person that didn't go into the industry from that school was the Christian kid that now he plays piano at a gospel church. Everybody else is in the industry, and no one has seen or heard from them since. But I went home, and I decided my girlfriend, I had cheated on her a ton. She was a Christian girl. She rode horses. She won trophies for it. She was amazing, beautiful, special. And I took her virginity. I was her first love. And I botched it. So I decided to really just let her go. I had already told her that summer that I had cheated on her a lot, and I'm sorry, and it's not her. It's that I have problems. I was needing an escape, and I needed to like run and chase something. And then when I got the safe place to stay the night and the girl, the feeling that gave me kind of shed away my traumas. and it made me feel more conscious and powerful, so I could continue working out, going to the gym, going to work. Like I needed that outlet. And I don't know, I think I was scared to love her because my first girlfriend that I really loved when I got out of the retreat, out of those institutions. So for the first time I had ever touched somebody, like longer than like a kiss when the staff aren't looking, was my first girlfriend, and she was the best looking girl in town. Everybody liked her. Everybody wanted her, but she was a trailer park girl. She was kind of crazy, and she would go hook up with her ex-boyfriends and then come home to me. Her ex-boyfriends were like 22, and she was 19, 20, and I was 16 and just got out of the retreat. So I had a lot to learn. And she would suck dick, come back and kiss me, and then when she would wait to get herself mad, and then she would reveal to me she was lying to my face. And now I have a lot of trauma where I think everybody's dishonest and I can't trust anybody at all. So that was a big part of why I couldn't love Garrett. But I ended up getting with the girl I always had a huge crush on, and I loved her, and she was just as fucked up as I was, and just as poetic and beautiful and art focused, and saw life as like we were way more in tune with like living in a daydream. So, and she was beautiful. She was the next of my first. She was like the girl that guys would line up to her aisle at Price Chopper all the way to the end of the aisle, like 70 people, and then all the other old ladies at the register are mad sitting there because no one will give them attention because all the guys are in this huge single file line to try to hit on this girl. And she loved me. So I took all my money and we went around New England. I was living in the car, I think I was living in my car, and I would shower somewhere, like maybe at my aunt's, and then I'd go to the marina, and we'd drive around. I think I just had money saved up at that point. And then I went back to the school, aced my test, I'm now a certified audio engineer and music producer from a industry gatekeeping school, so I have the credentials to go in and work in Hollywood if they took me in, but instead I stayed back because I felt it was satanic, and kept hanging out with the wrong people. Those little bongs turned into 5-foot bongs. One hit of weed turned into $300 worth of weed every Friday. And I didn't want to do it, but I didn't see it as bad. I saw it more as an experiment, because I liked when I would take it all in, and then I liked that big expanded freedom. And then I would attune it and focus, because I didn't have as much trauma as I have now. I definitely had trauma, but not the same. So I would still make jokes, and I was still sexually active with girls. And I loved driving around listening to music, and then the universe would show me where the cops were, like the Matrix, and then I would swerve and then change lanes and get out of there, and then I would see the cop before I even saw it physically. I'd just be able to live like that. There's a mosquito on that, and that's a true story. So I loved going to Bull Moose. I got a job as a pizza delivery guy. Went to Bull Moose every weekend, which is like a CD game store, like GameStop, but it mixed with like a CD vinyl store and bookstore. It's pretty cool. And I would just buy a new CD every week, and then I would put it in, analyze everything, like try to figure, like just dissecting every body of work I could. And I loved it. And I was growing a lot. I was making amazing songs all the time. I was really proud of what I was making. And January rolls around. That girl, Chloe, that I said that I really loved, that had the aisle, she would like come into I've known her since I was 15. she would come out and we would have an amazing few days, and then all of a sudden she would ghost me and she's moved on to the next guy. And then she'd come back a month later, and then she would ghost me and I'd see her in town with somebody else, having the exact same experience that we had with somebody else. And she wasn't, I don't know. So she was just a lying whore. As much as I love the good qualities about her. So that was heartbreaking. Even though I had cheated on Garrett, whatever. It was heartbreaking. I don't know, I have abandonment issues. And betrayal issues, lying. And why am I not good enough issues. Like why can't my family just give me the love I know that I just can never get it, so I have to, and then my friends don't treat me with the same and nobody understands, so I'm like, now I have to take control and fight my way to change the world so that I can start experiencing the love I deserve. And then it's just heartbreaking every time. So that pushed me to get it in the gym, but eventually the smoking weed at my friend's house, on my medication, I'm on SSRIs, don't have a stable place to live, I'm like couch surfing between 3 different spots, and then my car is on its way out. Eventually, my car dies, I go to Garrett's concert, and she's with another guy, and she tells me basically fuck off, and Chloe was gone with somebody else. All my friends, the drugs had just taken them. They turned into complete pieces of shit. No loyalty. They never had any loyalty, really. They were never good people. But now they didn't have any good qualities anymore. They were just a bunch of whiny, pissy brats. And I got them all in the gym. I got them all jobs. I kept them consistent and working hard, and they treated me like I was a nothing. So, like, I don't get it. There was no reason to treat me so bad at all, and they really did. I honestly think I was better than them. I really do. But I lost everything in one day. My car broke down, lost my job, lost my place to stay because the kids got in a fight with me over gas money that I didn't have. I couldn't give this guy a ride, but he demanded it, and I'm like, I just don't have it. I don't have the money. And I'm trying to save to get Ableton to start creating the sounds that I see in my mind and mix it the right way. I'm trying to work on the music, and they're blowing smoke in my face, and I'm on SSRI, so I'm staying up for days, and I'm trying to work and smoke weed. So after the concert, I freaked out. I like chucked this bottle and broke a window in the school. I screamed, fuck! And I ran out the side, got in my car. It's this huge town, like the whole town was there at the concert. There's a ladybug here on the window. Look, a ladybug. So I drove 90 miles an hour down this big hill. I turned around coincidentally right at the spot where John Michael died. Years later, I send it back up. I don't know what I'm doing, but a big shining light in the sky above my mind came down and told me to keep going, take a left, and then I felt this dark shadow monster on my left side stimulate me to just kill myself. So, going 90, floored it, straight line, the entire town is driving home after the concert, and I'm going the opposite way, right next to the school, and I drove my car 90 miles an hour into a pole. And my ex-girlfriend was eating food at my job. So she was planning this big fuck you to me where she was going to go eat with her new boyfriend at the job I worked at to break my heart, I guess, or show off that, like, whatever. Because I cheated on her a lot. So, that was going to be her big, like, whatever. Eating food at the restaurant I work at with her new guy who's, like, taller. Isaac Weeks. Who turned out to be a fucking chode simp, angsty Kyle wall punching loser piece of shit, and now he's in the army. So look how that turned out for her. So, but what she saw is out the window, she watched me fucking kill myself. So there's a car speeding into the lot to come scream at me. So, you want to experience homelessness, watch me get arrested. It's Sunday. Scream at me all you want. So, how about we just leave that as part 1? Let's see what happens.